Well, let's recap this last weekend. It kind of gets us right into the feel of the grind of our season. March is probably the toughest part of our year just because of the fact that we're traveling so much. And me personally, I felt the effects of that last night as we were traveling home on that nice 10.5 hour bus ride and rolling into Cedar Falls at 3 a.m. So this is the tough part of our season, and we could kind of see that a little bit as it being the first trip that we took, longer bus ride. Our performance wasn't where we needed it to be, really in all aspects of the game. The first game we played offensively, I can't remember us being shut down like that in a long time. And granted, it was a very good pitcher from Stephen F. Austin. They have two really good arms that we faced this weekend, but haven't seen us go that cold offensively in a long time. And then defensively, we gift wrapped half of the runs, if not more than half of the runs from a defensive standpoint. Just not taking care of the softball, not playing intensely and really paying attention to the details, something that we've talked about for the last few weeks. And we just really didn't do a very good job on Friday competing. And, we turned it around a little bit on Saturday, went up against Stephen F. Austin again, and they kind of took it to us, but we did a better job of giving them a game and competing. Yesterday on Sunday, we played two pretty good games. I would say Central Arkansas is a really tough team, and playing them to a 3-run game, we out-hit them. We had 8 hits and no runs. It wasn't one of those days where we weren't getting those clutch hits. We were playing better defense. We improved all weekend, but overall it was one of those weekends where it's like, man, we wish we could have that one back because we just didn't perform well. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the long bus ride or the week off or whatever the case may be, but we just didn't perform well to our standards. And so we've got a challenge ahead of us, and we're going into the grind of our season, coming off of a tough weekend. Hopefully that'll stick in our craw, and we'll be able to remember that and continue to use that as motivation as we go into the next couple weekends. We've got one weekend left before Valley Play starts, and it's a tough weekend. We've got some teams that we're facing. Utah Valley, they beat Long Beach State, who we played 2 weekends ago in Arizona, and seeing them with my own eyes, that's a heck of a team, and they can swing it, they can pitch it, and so knowing that they beat them kind of gives us where the bar sets for them. Omaha beat Michigan State this past weekend. They're playing well, a rebuilding program, but really doing a great job offensively. It looks like they're putting up a lot of runs. And that's been kind of our Achilles heel lately, is being able to keep the other team off the scoreboard. So we're going up against those two teams for 4 games, and then we'll have one game against Northern Colorado, the host team. And I think, we just got to, I think like Coach Jake said, we got to focus on ourselves right now and not really worry about who we're going up against, because first and foremost, we're not playing to the standards that we want to play to. And once we get there, then we can start looking at who we're playing and how we match up and things like that. But at this point, we just got a lot of work to do in the next couple days before we get back on the bus. Any questions?
Right now, you're a team that you score 5 or less runs, you're 0-8. If you score 6 or more, you're 6-2. Is this a team that you feel like that's how you're going to have to win this year? Just put more runs up than normal, not try and win. I know you like to win games 2-0, but is this a team that's just going to have to outslug and outscore their opponent that way?
It looks like that way right now. I mean, I think there's a lot of room for us to improve on that side of the ball, though, as far as pitching and defense. I mean, we're just not pitching sharp. We're not pitching well. Our pitchers have a combined ERA of over 5 runs a game. I mean, that's hard to do. That's hard to do offensively, knowing that you got to go into a game and score 5 runs to win. I mean, that's a tough mindset. The one thing that's positive on that is that's how we train offensively. Is it doesn't matter how many hits we get, but when we get one, we want it to be a big one. We want it to count. We want it to score runs, and that's our mindset offensively. So I think that's what's kept us in a lot of our ball games this year. But you can definitely see the ones where we underperform offensively. Like it's a big hill for us at that point because we haven't done a good job of executing in the circle, and then not to just put it on the pitchers, but defensively. I mean, we're making mistakes like crazy, and there's a lot of them that haven't showed up on the scoreboard. We talked to them the other day. We had 5 errors, I think, and we could have easily put a 9 up there because of all the mental mistakes that we make, and miscommunication and people going for balls 80% of the way and then backing off, and then the other person that had a chance to make that play, now they don't have a chance because they deked them, and it's just things like that just we haven't been able to click on. And we've got a long season. We got a lot of opportunities to continue to get better at that. I would say that probably the biggest factor in that team chemistry defensively is that we haven't had a full team at a practice since we started classes in January. Our practice time from 1 to 3 in the Dome is very difficult to get an entire team there. So you've got a starting third baseman who is at half of a practice every single day. She's either going to be there at the beginning and then have to leave, or not be there at the beginning and get there late and show up ready for team defense, things like that, where it's not just 1 or 2, it's been 5 or 6, and it's not always the same kids, but it's just very difficult to get that cohesion when you're working together, trying to do some team defense stuff. And quite honestly, that was a bad experience last week when we tried to do team defense. It fell apart. Couldn't get through a drill that should take 20 minutes. We didn't even get halfway through it. And so that's our challenge right now. I think for me, it's challenge accepted. It's like, all right, here we go. We know what we've got to do. That's a lot better than not having any idea of where you can get better. I think that's the thing that I'm at least not happy about, but I got a goal. I've got something that we're working towards. So that's where we've got to get.
This looks like another really tough competitive weekend, and I know you can't change it now, but do you look at this schedule you've played so far, the 16 games, and think maybe this was a little tougher schedule than you should have played with this team? Or I know you like challenging your team early, but did this schedule turn out to be a little bit tougher for this group than maybe you thought it would be?
No, I thought this group was a very veteran group. We've got 8 seniors, so it's not a new thing for them. I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to go play up and let's see what we are. Let's challenge ourselves. And this group's talked about winning a conference championship, and I know that in order to do that, you have to go play tough teams. You can't go play teams that don't make you play to your highest level, at least even mentally. Play to your highest level and then expect to come in and win in our league. It's not going to happen. So I do also think we were surprised at where some of the teams that we might have felt like we matched up pretty good, or that, I don't know how to say that, I guess, but they've been better. And so whenever you schedule, you just never know what you're going to get. You might think you've got this powerhouse schedule, and then it turns out to be a middle-of-the-road RPI schedule. And there's been years where I've put together a schedule where I thought, hey, this is what we need. Our team needs an easier schedule. And then all of a sudden we're in the top 60 RPI, and it's like, whoa, what happened? So you just never know what you're going to get. But with this team, I felt like it didn't matter what we got. If we got a tough one or not, we would be ready to handle it because of our experience.
And are you able to get a feel for how the conference is shaping up? I don't have that many games, but can you see where the strength of the league might be, or how tough the Valley will be this year?
Yeah, I think the Valley's done a good job of going out and playing some really good teams. You can kind of see Illinois State's done a really good job. They always do. Coach Fisher always goes and plays a really tough schedule, but just judging like where they've been at the last couple years with that tough schedule and where they've been this year, they're definitely doing a lot better against that competition. SIU just had a 5-0 weekend against a few teams that we've already played on our schedule, so they look like they're getting better as the weekends have gone by. But just across the league, nobody's really kind of just standing out like winning a ton of games. It's usually 3-2 or 3-1, 4-2, something like that. But all the teams that they're playing, like the level of competition is right where I think we need to be in our league, and I think it's going to set up well for a very competitive Valley season. Really, right now at this point, I don't see one team that does stand out. Thank you.